Okay, we are now live.
VIPIN, do you want to get it started, or I want us to just introduce the...
First, if you can introduce yourself, and then we can continue, and in the last we can take some questions.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick overview of the project and the idea concept behind it, and then I'll let everyone let everyone here introduce themselves. So the idea behind the project is that telecom roaming agreements are legal agreements. Usually they are bilateral agreements, and usually it's lots of legal terms, but there's also a technical side of it as well, commercial. And the concept here is we are trying to tackle this at the early stage of building the telecom roaming agreements, which is at the stage of drafting and negotiation. And we came across the concept from other domains. Actually, in financial markets, there is this over-the-counter derivatives agreements, which is looked to us something similar. And there's already something similar in the financial market that handles something in the domain of how to draft and negotiate a kind of master agreement. So the concept is to use both natural language processing and DLT. In this case, it's Hyperledger Fabric. The natural language processing is to analyze the text of different legal agreement documents and try to classify the text into different parts, and Santiago will go through this. And then the DLT is to manage the automation piece and ensure the trust and the auditing and the traceability. Myself is Ahmad Sghaier. I work in blockchain industry for the last 3 to 4 years. I build blockchain solutions, and I asked both Noureddin and Mohamed to join me because they can bring the other side of the project, which is the natural language processing, which is their specialty. And Santiago is the mentee in this mentorship project, and he was the one performing all this work while we provided him with guidance throughout the project. So I'll leave it to Noureddin and Mohamed, and then leave Santiago as the last one, since he's going to be doing the entire presentation. So, yeah. Noureddin?
Thank you, Ahmed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this meeting. My name is Noureddin Sadawi. I'm from Libya, based in London, UK. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of London and instructor with O'Reilly and Pearson. I specialize in machine deep learning and those areas, so that's why I was invited to co-supervise this project. I'd like to thank Ahmed and Hyperledger and Linux Foundation for facilitating this. It's been a really good project. Santiago has done a fantastic job, as he will present to us today. I'm grateful also to Mohamed for his contribution. It's been a really nice and useful project. We've learned a lot along the way. And yeah, thanks everyone again for joining us. Over to you, Mohamed.
Hi everyone, this is Mohamed Elshrif. I'm a software engineer at Qatar Center for Artificial Intelligence. I'm mainly work in applied machine learning and deep learning under spectrum of applications, and I'm involved in many projects with local and international entities. We have collaboration projects with Boeing in predictive maintenance, in detecting small objects, and also we have a collaboration project with MIT about urban computing, and with Qatar Airways in local entities. So that's why Ahmed, he asked me to join this project, because I'm working in machine learning and deep learning, during my career for the past 5 years. So thank you, Ahmed, and it's over to you, Santiago.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmed, Noureddin, and Mohamed. Let us start it. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone. My name is Santiago. I recently finished my PhD. I am currently working in data analysis and information management group of FEIT, that is a research center in Basque Country that is part of the University of Navarra. First of all, I would like to thank to the special Telecom group for the invitation to the presented work, the use of NLP and DLT to enable the digitalization of telecom roaming agreement as part of the Hyperledger Mentorship 2021 project. Additionally, I would like to introduce to my mentors projects, Ahmed, Noureddin, and Mohamed, who are present in the call and talk a bit before me. So you can see the Menti project presentation on the link placed in the slide footer. And now I will start with one overview of the roaming agreement concept. Roaming agreement operation ensures business continuity and ubiquitous service access to the end customer across various technologies stack, including, for instance, new technologies like 5G, IoT technologies, and IoT. The roaming agreement addresses the technical and commercial components necessary to enable the service to a roaming customer so that it constitutes an essential part of the business, managing issues such as, the interoperation shares. Thinking that roaming agreements are mainly, a bilateral agreement with an established template provided by GSMA. Therefore, conducting a dynamic and transparent roaming agreement drafting process ensure advantage for telco companies in terms, for instance, of monetization. The necessity of the project comes from problems detected in the roaming agreement drafting process, which includes, first of all, the roaming agreement negotiation is manual, slow, and untrustworthy. The second one is that the GSMA approach for the wholesale roaming initiative is like generalist in terms of negotiation and drafting of the roaming agreement. So it lacks of standardization. So there is a necessity to establish a framework that provides capabilities such as, a fine-grained methodology that digitalize the roaming agreement drafting process. In addition, the promotion of a transparent negotiation process between two mobile networks operators, and in addition to ensure traceability in the roaming agreement drafting process. In this way, blockchain integrated with other technologies such as natural language processing can cover these capabilities. An overview of the project can be found in the first Medium article that we published as part of our project, and the URL is included in the footer of this slide. For this reason, the two main project objectives are, first of all, to build a library that will capture the different variations and variables that construct a telecom roaming agreement, and in addition to build a proof of concept based on a set of smart contracts that will automate the process of drafting and negotiation. In general terms, we can think in this project that looks at very early phases of the roaming agreement and specifically the drafting and negotiation process. Our solution can facilitate the process of drafting an agreement and turning it into digital format can help in establish a root of truth of the agreement. For this reason, we first collect a few agreements, including the GSMA template, and build a simple NLP model to extract the main feature of the text, which that we classified as standard class, variables, variation, and custom text. This model then is used in the drafting of any agreement to build each article where the action of user are managed through the chain code in terms of article proposal, article change until the entire agreement is finalized. At background level, we want to analyze, on the one hand, the NLP technology and the Amazon Comprehend tool, but a quick concept. In this term, natural language processing is a subfield, sorry, of linguistics and computer science and artificial intelligence, concerned with the interaction between computer and human language. At the same time, Amazon Comprehend is a natural language processing service. It's like a tool that uses machine learning to uncover variables inside and connection in text. To understand what are variables, variation, and standard clause, and custom text, a snapshot of two documents are used. On the left side, you can see the AA12 GCMA template, and on the right side, you can see one sample of the mobile network operator Proximus roaming agreement. In this way, a standard clause implies to leave an article or sub-article as found in the template. Variables represent the value of certain attributes that are found in a certain text, such as, for instance, dates, name of entities, amount, and others. In addition, variation represent changing variables, for instance, mobile networks operator, dates, penalty, currency, and so on. Concerning the original text, I mean the GCMA template in the article or sub-article. Finally, customized text introduce completely new article or sub-article that respond to particular interests. The reference architectures include not only participant entities, but also the functionalities that they perform throughout the application lifecycle. First, the entities participant in the roaming agreement are composed by, two mobile network operator and the GCMA as administrator. There are functions that they perform in common, such as, the maintenance of the Hyperledger Fabric network and participation in the network consensus. But particularly, mobile networks operators negotiate and draft the roaming agreement among themselves, maintaining the privacy of the information and using the NLP engine to create a template which be used as part of the drafting process. In addition, the GCMA is in charge of the registration of the mobile network operator, the network monitoring, the auditing, the accountability of the roaming agreement conducted between the two mobile network operators. The application lifecycle is composed by 4 stages. The first one is enable the roaming agreement principle. The second one is the registration of both the mobile network operator and the roaming agreement. In addition, the third stage is the roaming agreement drafting process, and finally is the phase to reach the agreement. The first phase starts when two mobile networks operator enable the roaming agreement principle throughout a document that could be shared with the GCMA as a central authority. At this point, GCMA is able to create the roaming agreement output template using the NLP engine execution. The second phase is that once is produced when the GCMA loads the roaming agreement output template to the platform to manage the roaming agreement. It must enable the mobile network operator who will be able to register themselves on the Hyperledger Fabric blockchain platform before starting the negotiation and drafting of the roaming agreement. The third stage contains the roaming agreement drafting process. Although in this image, 3 processes are represented, any combination that include, for instance, add article, accept article, propose change in the article, and reject the article can be performed. Finally, the fourth stage consists of the proposal to reach an agreement as well as the acceptance of the roaming agreement by two mobile networks operators. The two main components of the project are, first of all, the NLP engine, and the second one, the chaincode, which are discussed below. The overall architecture of the NLP engine is built over a Docker infrastructure, establishing as input the roaming agreement draft as well as the GSMA template. The processing layer is, a logic identified as the NLP engine, which include as output, the classification of the article in a standard class, in variation, in customized text, and variables. A very important component in the NLP engine is the Amazon Comprehend service. This service, as we mentioned, uses machine learning to uncover variables inside and connection in text. Throughout Amazon Comprehend tool, roaming agreement text is processed to extract, for instance, key phrases, entities, sentiment for further analysis. Details of the NLP engine can be found in the second Medium article published as part of this project. And again, the URL is included in the footer of the presentation of this slide. Sorry. This image or this slide illustrates part of the set of methods that can make up, the chaincode lifecycle. The invocation of this method establishes the transition between the different states of the chaincode. This transition takes place at three application levels. The first one is the roaming agreement level. The second one is the at articles level, and the third one is that article level. Detail of the chaincode design can be found in the third Medium article published as part of this project, and the URL is included in the footer. To illustrate the operation of the chaincode, the following figure or slide show the sequence diagram of the proposed agreement initiation method. Thus, the proxy module enable the interaction with other modules. The identity modules allow verifying the mobile networks operator identity. The organization module verifies whether the mobile network operator exists and has been previously registered. The agreement modules perform the following functionalities. First, the generation of unique identifier for the list of articles. Second one, the generation of another unique identifier for the roaming agreement. The third one is that the status of the roaming agreement negotiation is set as a started roaming agreement. The status of the article negotiation is set at init, and the started roaming agreement event is emitted. Again, detail of the chaincode implementation can be found in the fourth Medium article published as part of the project. Again, the URL is included in the footer of this slide. The project implementation is based on a set of microservices using Docker infrastructure. It should be noted how GSMA is the administrator and the maintainer of a set of services, including the frontend, the NLP engine, the Kibana, Grafana, Prometheus, and Swagger. In addition, the two mobile networks operator include the functionalities to maintain and monitoring the ledger. One of the most remarkable points of this project is the integration with other open source projects that belong to the Hyperledger mentoring or mentorship program, specifically the project analyzing Hyperledger Fabric ledger transaction and logs using Elasticsearch and Kibana. We include this project as part of our project, and in the demo it's possible to see how this integration. Sorry. Now it's time to have a demo time. First one, you can see the transaction committed into the ledger once the chain code is installed and instantiated. The attempt to access for the user failed because GSMAs need to register it before. Now GSMA register admins and user of the mobile networks operator. The user one now is able to register, for instance, one mobile network operator. Now you can see how the transaction is committed into the ledger. Again, the user 2 is able to register the second mobile network operator. Again, when the information is provided, now can be verified how the transaction is committed into the ledger. Now the roaming agreement, let me stop here the video. As you can see here, you know, the mobile network operator number 2 proposed a roaming agreement registration. As you can see here, this name represents the roaming agreement output template that was provided by the NLP engine. As you can see here, the roaming agreement is proposed, and here you can see how the pipeline created can show the roaming agreement is available between the two mobile networks operator. Now, the other user, in this case, the user 1 or the mobile network operator 1, need to confirm the roaming agreement. Again, the transaction is committed into the ledger. And now this mobile network operator is able to propose an article based again on the roaming agreement output template loaded from the NLP engine. Here, as you can see, a standard class is defined, variables are introduced, and in addition, variations are defined. Again, transaction is committed into the ledger. And now, as you can see here, you know, the article is added into the pipeline. One important thing here is that the mobile network operator that proposed the change cannot be able to accept it. So now the second mobile network operator is able to, for instance, to propose a new changes. Now the variables are changed, but accept the same variations. Okay, here it should be possible to see that how the status is updated. And now the mobile network operator number 1 is able to accept the proposition. Again, the transaction is committed into the ledger. And then new articles are added for the into the pipeline. This is a new article, and another article should be added into the pipeline. But again, one important thing, the mobile network operator number 1 cannot accept its own changes. So mobile network operator 2 accept the proposed change. Here, transaction committed into the ledger. The next article is accepted. The status change, and now this mobile network operator is able to propose, to propose that the roaming agreement be accepted. Just 3 articles into the pipeline, in this case, is enough. And now the mobile network operator number 1 can accept the proposal. Okay. As part of the project, deliverables include, a series of, of Medium articles explaining the main project vision, the main concept, and the proposed design approach. The NLP model that extracts the main feature of the telecom agreement, agreement template as, as a set of variables and variation. In addition, a chain code that automates and maps the business process of the agreement, drafting and negotiation. In addition, the architectural design document of the system. Also, we create a simple user interface as proof of concept that will show the step of the agreement drafting. And finally, we publish an academic conference paper with the main finding of the project. For the future works, we have included, to build a model based on one open source library, such as, Spacey, because right now we are using the Amazon Comprehension tool. In addition to create a drafting library in JavaScript and package it and publish it as npm package. We also planning to ensure information privacy between two mobile networks operator through the private data collection. In addition, we want to contextualize the traceability of the roaming agreement negotiation between two mobile networks operator through the visualization tool. In addition, the definition and establishment of an audit and accountability layer for the system. Another future work is the full API for monitoring based on Prometheus and Grafana. And the last one is to submit a manuscript to, to the IEEE International Conference on Blockchain in 2022. At this point, I want to thank to my mentors, the knowledge and skill gained around this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santiago. Thanks a lot. It was really an honor to work with you during this project. Me and I think even my colleagues, Mohamed and Noureddin, we learned a lot from you through this project. And we, the most important thing, we also got this from a concept written in a one-pager into an actual proof of concept during the mentorship project, which is really was good. And also, it's worth noting that when we developed this, we looked at what GSMA is trying to achieve. GSMA, they have their BWR initiative, which they are trying to build a framework for telecom roaming agreements using blockchain, but they are focusing more into the actionable pieces of the telecom roaming agreement in terms of settlement, dispute resolution. And the good thing is that what we found is that our work can be complementary to theirs. So we come at the very early stage where we try to digitize the agreement text and extract it into those features through the NLP model, and then use the chain code to build the actual digital version of the roaming agreement and make it actionable. So the next phases in terms of settlement, dispute resolution can benefit from having this digitized version of the roaming agreement text, which I think that's the point where Santiago mentioned that right now it's more of a generalist approach. So it's like relying on PDF files exchanged or something like that, where you add digital signature, but it's not like at a very granular level where you can identify exactly this is the amount of the credits used, or this is the operator name, or this is the date of start of agreement, or whatever, any of those variables or the different variations used. So just wanted to put that into the context. And I think also it's good to mention that next week we are meeting with GSMA to try to find out some synergy between what we've worked on and the BWR group at the GSMA, and see if how we can maybe contribute with our work that Santiago built into the GSMA BWR initiative. So yeah. Back to you, VIPIN, in case you want to maybe open the floor for
Thanks, Ahmad, for sharing everything. And I want to know, like, is it like open source, like because it's a part of, I think, Hyperledger mentorship program, or what frame? If you can tell us more about this framework, like, is it what you use? Like, is it Fabric or some other platform? Like, more.
Yeah, it's open source. All the links to the repos, etc., are available, I think, in the different Medium articles. And yeah, it's all based on Hyperledger Fabric with the different tools that Santiago highlighted in terms of monitoring tools or other tools. We are also, that's something maybe I would like to mention to you, VIPIN and David. We are building a more detailed solution design document. We can share that document with you, and maybe we can maybe have it sort of as a solution brief, or I don't know what exactly the best name to call it. We're calling it solution design document, but maybe we can get some editing from you, David, and the Hyperledger Fabric team, and if okay, we would like to publish it under the Hyperledger umbrella. So
sure. I mean, that would be a good discussion to have at a future Telecom call. We've done 2 other solution briefs from the group and are talking about other ones. So yeah, we can certainly sort through that and get it published.
Good.
And we have one question in the chat box, like, thank you, sir. Could you share with us your API monitoring tools?
Yes, for sure. Maybe I share my email, and then I can share all Docker created for monitoring proposals. Yeah, sure.
There's a question also from YouTube, David, right?
Yeah. And the question is, do the wireless carriers have to agree to participate on the Hyperledger platform applications?
Yes, definitely yes. And there's also the role of the GSMA to enable registration of those MNOs into the platform. So, of course.
And also, Ahmad, because anyhow, we are not, as interoperability is not part of this, right? For example, let's say if some carrier is using Hyperledger, or someone is using Ethereum, so interoperability is in your vision,
No,
or something?
It's Hyperledger Fabric right now. So the chain code is deployed definitely on Hyperledger Fabric. So it has to be Hyperledger Fabric.
And the next question is from Anis. Is it possible to build a generalized agreement negotiation system on Hyperledger? And the second is, what is the need to develop a specific system for mobile operators?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that could be, but in terms, I think one of the issues that we faced, we didn't have anyone who's a legal person in our team. And just as I said, we borrowed this concept from financial markets, and I know how they built it in financial markets. It was legal team that they were analyzing text, not using NLP, but people analyzing text and identifying variables, variations, etc. So to build a generalized agreement, that means, for example, SLA agreement or any other types of agreements, it could be done, but it would require a more sophisticated model and branching in that model, if it's the best word to use for this. So that's my answer to this. I don't know if the other guys has any comment on this.
And also one more, like, what is the need to develop a specific system for mobile operators? Like, this is one basic question, like, means why you started
to develop a specific system for mobile operator. I don't know if Anas can elaborate more. We could maybe understand exactly what's.
It's just a complementary question to the first part. Basically, if we can build a generalized agreement negotiation system on Hyperledger Fabric that can be where you can drop in like the template of the contract, and then the negotiation process in terms of as presented in this scenario, each party kind of suggests changes, and then the process moves on and everybody agrees, and then you have at the final stage you have a contract that everybody agrees on. To me, that sounds like a process that can be applied to any type of any type of contract. Like
I totally agree that it could be a generalized approach, but what's the need to develop is that, as I said, there could be different types of legal agreements for mobile operators. The roaming agreement is one thing, SLAs is another thing, and definitely there are others. One of the objectives was of this project that we actually didn't complete was to build a library, a package. We targeted JavaScript, like an NPM package, that will enable transforming that NLP model into a library that will allow easily to pick Article 2. And then once you pick Article 2, that will populate what are the variables, what are the different variations. And this is actually was done by Santiago, but not as a library, but he coded that into the front end. So our work maybe is to extract that into a library. So if we would like to build that generalized model, what will happen, you will take different SLA agreements, you will take different roaming agreements, and then you will build an NLP model for each one of these, and then build some packages that once you select what type of agreement, it will grab the specific model for that type of agreement, and then you start executing the next steps of selecting an article, specifying what are the values for each variable, which variations you would like to include. Do you want to include some custom text, things like that? So
yeah, I mean, I see a huge potential. Like if such a model can be generalized, then you kind of expand your customer base, and like in healthcare, like real estate people, like in negotiate.
Exactly.
A lot of people can benefit from like basically Hyperledger, the immutability of the contract, and the whole process is transparent. This opens up a lot of potential.
Yeah, in that case, I totally agree. So that would be like the chain code will be the most generalized system here that will handle just the process of adding articles, specifying the ins and outs of each article, and then handle the negotiation piece, which is if you accept it, if you propose change, if you want to delete it, reject it, whatever. But again, it would have to start with building the different models for the different use cases that you would like this system to handle. So without that model, you don't know how the text is interpreted, because definitely there are specific things that you can capture maybe in roaming agreements, but if you go to a real estate brokering agreement, that would be maybe different kind of variables and text that you need to analyze to come up with the exact model. And the other thing is, which we mentioned already, that we borrowed the concept from another industry. So definitely a generalized model can be built. It's just you need to do that batch processing at the beginning by building your NLP model. So if you build that generalized chain code, then you would start every now and then to go into a specific domain, analyze lots of legal text, and come up with the model that can be used. And fair to say is that telecom roaming agreements are not that complicated. So that made our life easy. We don't know about other applications. So yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Okay, Jason wants to ask some question. Jason, could you unmute yourself?
Yeah, thank you, VIPIN, and thanks Ahmad and Santiago for the presentations, very helpful. So thank you for that. So I know this is a proof of concept project, so it's not in production environment, but it's a good starting point to carry over to production. So my question is, when we move over to production, there's the governance question. So there is a roaming agreement that comes into existence, right? In the example in the presentations between Orange and Telefonica. So who would have ownership of this document? Because it's a roaming agreement between two operators. So that document obviously is off-chain, but do you see that being a repository held by a third party, or is it one of the operators, or where does that go?
So one of the things that we are looking at is to look into private data collections. And in that case, that will be something where the roaming agreement is just built inside the chain code, actually. And you kind of, let me try to find the best word to describe this. You can, you generate the actual text based on what's inside the chain code. And since it's a private data collection, so that means it's only the two operators that they have access to this agreement.
Okay, so it's a private data repository.
Yeah. Currently, it's not there. Currently, like GSMA is the authority that handles or manages the entire network. And everything is plain, accessible to everyone. But our concept is to advance this and build it in on top of private data collections, where data will become only accessible to the two operators that they are.
You're right. So the roaming agreement would reside in operator 1, and if operator 2 needs to access that roaming agreement, they have to go into operator 1's repository to retrieve it.
As I said, it's actually coded inside the chain code. So when you define the variables, when you define what are the variations, we do not include the actual text inside the chain code, but we include references. So let's say article 2, there are 3 variations, 2A, 2B, 2C. And when operator 1 proposed the article, he included 2A and 2B, and then operator 2 approved it. So right now, inside the chain code, article 2 is defined as whatever the standard clause, so standard clause is always there, plus it's identified by 2 variations, 2A, 2B. When the other operator would like to construct the agreement, the engine maps those indexes into the actual text and generate the PDF for that one. But the main thing here is that variables are identified by their actual values inside the chain code. Variations are identified by their indexes, which, as I explained right now, the only thing is custom text. Custom text is the only thing that's stored as is inside the chain code.
I see. I got you. Yeah. Right. So if they, whenever they want to retrieve the document, they can reference the ledger, exactly, generate on the fly, to generate the document on the fly. Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks, guys. Really great presentation. Thank you for sharing.
So, Ahmad, are you planning to host this POC code on Hyperledger Labs as well, or is just an individual project? That means how you will, what is your next steps on this?
Yeah, we would love to do that. Yeah, honestly, that was something on my side, but I didn't I didn't do my job. So yeah, we would love to do that, and probably we can ask for help on how to set up that on the Hyperledger Lab.
That will be good, because in that case, this this will increase the outreach as well, and then because if Hyperledger Labs can be used by, let's say, GSMA or other operators as a standard or something, so that like it will help for other operators to start with something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can discuss that. I would. Yeah, I see David putting a link here, but we can discuss it offline and see how to.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. You may have already taken a look at the process, but it's fairly straightforward. So if you have questions, just let me know.
Yeah, sure.
Hi guys, sorry to just to jump in quickly. I'm sure David and VIPIN have spotted already from Santiago's slides that he's actually reused some of the existing components from previous projects, which is really good.
Yeah, this Hyperledger Lab, Noureddin, just to, but maybe VIPIN can provide further there, but it's like hosting this solution or proof of concept there, so allowing.
Yeah, my point is a little different. What I'm saying is, because VIPIN mentioned that it's good for outreach, we have done actually some of that to prove that the previous work can be quite useful. So Santiago has used already existing stuff, and hopefully for this project, it can take different branches. So a couple of suggestions, for example, were really good already. Sorry, I forgot names, Anas and I think I forgot, sorry for the other person's name. So these are quite useful suggestions. Some of the stuff here, I must say, is basically future work, okay? So please do bear in mind that this is just a proof of concept project. It's not really a large scale project, so it can go into different directions. One of them, for example, sorry, it was Jason, Jason Jaan. One of them could be, for example, this project can be the basis or the foundation for another project. So somebody can maybe extend it to something else, like, for example, interoperability, for example, between different providers of blockchain technologies such as Ethereum and so on. Also, of course, packaging stuff and putting it into libraries and reusable modules, that's also really good. So this is, like I said, just one point I wanted to highlight. Also, regarding the material and the existing stuff that already is there, we do have already a couple of Medium articles written, and also a GitHub repository where the code is. So I think Santiago, if he's still around, then he perhaps can copy and paste the link here, and then people can find it really useful.
And I also want to add a very important point is like once like GSMA will be involved in these things. So that's what GSMA is doing with like with other foundations or other projects, is like they are building some reference architectures and reference implementations. So if we can work on that part like as a separate project or something, that's what they do in different foundations. For example, CNTT. This is with Linux Foundation networking and GSMA for what telco cloud should be like in the implementation part. So if we can do something like this, that what we can propose to GSMA regarding we are interested in building some reference architecture implementations and models, so that it will be like a reference point for other operators as well. That's what GSMA can push into. So Ahmad, that's just a suggestion that you can ask them, like if they are interested in.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think they already work with 2 or 3 operators and 2 vendors. I think you already hosted Shamit and someone from Cineverse. They delivered a presentation to the group like in the past few months. We'll discuss that with them and see if they would like maybe to set up a small group that can like bring synergies between what they are doing and what the group might be able to add.
And Santiago already shared one link, like those participants who are interested in this blog, they can see. And yes, we have
I share the link of the project. Here is included all the information of the demonstration, the Medium articles. I think that is a good entry point to the rest. In this link, we also included the repository link, the repository URL. So all is concentrated in this page.
And Santiago, feel free to share that on the group's list. Not everybody in the group was able to join to the call today, so there's over 200 people on the list. So if you want to have a conversation there, you're certainly welcome to. And anybody who is not on the group's list, but would like to take part in discussions, it's an open list and you're certainly welcome to subscribe.
Okay.
And the link is shared in the chat as well. Okay, do we have more questions? Anyone? Okay, so thanks, Ahmad, and everyone for joining today. And we have bi-weekly calls every Thursday, like in second week of Thursday. So if you're interested in like delivering more talks or attending such sessions, please feel free to join these calls. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you next time.